Hello there and welcome to the Live Snap Love Show with me, your host, Audrey Ann. And now today we are talking about being in a creative slump. You know, that times where you just don't feel motivated, you don't feel inspired to pick up your camera, you feel like you've taken every photo that there is to take and you just don't feel motivated at all. Well, if that is how you're feeling, welcome to the club. I don't know of another photographer who hasn't felt like this from time to time. I know I certainly do. And remember, I've taught over 7,000 students now in our online courses, and I can tell you that all of them have probably felt the same way too. And this can happen to you whether you're brand new to photography or a little bit more seasoned like myself and have been shooting for years. And I can tell you, this happens to me regularly. And I've got a little suite of tools that I use to get myself out of it. And recently I was feeling a bit unmotivated and I came up with 3 different ways that have kind of pushed me through it. So I recently just used these, which is why I felt inspired to come in and share these with you. So my hope is that by hearing about these strategies that I've been using, if you are feeling unmotivated and uninspired, this will help kickstart you, get you out there shooting with your camera again, and just ignite that passion for photography with you again. So without further ado, let's go ahead and dive in now to the very first technique that I recently used in order to kickstart myself again, and that was finding new locations to shoot in. Now, I recently created a new workshop called the Location Scouting Playbook. And in this workshop, I share with you how to find new locations to shoot in, how to scout them like a pro, what to look for, and then how to plan a shoot there. And when I was doing this, I was creating a demo video of finding locations. I found somewhere, created a demo video of, what I'm looking for in that location. And lo and behold, I managed to inspire myself and I'd arranged a shoot within the week. And I am so happy with the images that I got there because I felt really inspired when I was there. All that looking around and figuring out where I could take photographs from really worked to give me a diverse range of photos within about 40 minutes and all in one very small location. And so I'm so pleased with everything that I got from this shoot. I've already got another one lined up because I've got another location that I found when I was creating this workshop. So it just goes to show just how much difference a location can make. So locations can be very inspiring. If you're shooting in the same place all the time, it's easy to get bored. You get that little bit jaded. When you go somewhere new, you start looking around you with a photographic eye. You start looking about how can I use this location? What is here? What are the different ways that I can use that? What compositions could I use? And when you do that, you do start to inspire yourself. Now, this doesn't matter whether you are in business, whether you're photographing for yourself. If you're in business, it's absolutely crucial to have a good location that works from a practical perspective and a photographic one. And it's definitely what you want to do in order to create a plan for how to run that shoot when you get there. You don't want to turn up at a shoot going, maybe if we just kind of go over here, maybe. Well, let's just try that. We want to kind of have an idea, don't we? It stops us from feeling flustered and overwhelmed. And doing a good location scout is definitely a way to do that. But even if you're not in business, it's so inspiring if you start looking at locations and finding them. I use that for, client shoots. I use that for my personal portrait work that I like to do, which is using something a little bit different. I use that for lifestyle documentary ideas where I could take my family for lifestyle and documentary photos, even just finding new locations to shoot in, for example, different beaches or different architecture. All of these things are all due by finding new locations and looking at them with that fresh eyes. Now, if you do want help with that, remember I have that workshop that I mentioned, the Location Scouting Playbook. You can find out more about that by going to livesnaplove.com/location. That's livesnaplove.com/location. Again, I'm going to leave a link to that in the description around where you're listening or watching this episode. Okay, let's move on now to the strategy number 2, and that is to shoot to a prompts list. And again, I've managed to inspire myself here because many years ago, I created a summer prompts list. Now, this is kind of like a scavenger hunt. It's just got a list of items that I can go out and find and photograph. Now, these are 1 or 2 words. So it'll be things like, golden light or ice cream, or it could just be the color green, or it could be sandals. It could be any of those things. And my job is to go out there and start to find them. Now, it's a little trick that your brain does use. If you start trying to find red cars, or you think about getting a red car, you'll suddenly start to see red cars everywhere. If you start thinking of ice cream, you'll start to see different options for photos of ice cream everywhere. And again, you might just take that as you see it. Perhaps, you're buy your son or your daughter an ice cream cone and you just kind of photograph that. Or you might plan a whole shoot around an ice cream truck, for example. Lots of different ways that you can use these prompts to go and kickstart your ideas. Now, you can go ahead and download that prompt list that I have for free. If you want, you're more than welcome to it. Again, go to livesnaplove.com/summer and you can grab it there. Again, I'm going to leave a link to this around where you're listening or watching to this episode. Now, if you don't like the idea of a prompts list, if that feels a little bit too stagnant, or doesn't give you enough room for creativity, even though I would argue that it does, you can do something that is called using the currently list. Now, I use this all the time. This is just a list of things that you're currently doing. So things like things that you're currently doing, currently eating, currently waiting, currently feeling, listening to, watching, loving, and so on. That's the ones I use. If you can think of more, absolutely add them to it. The goal here is just to think about things that you're currently doing them and then how you can photograph them. Now, I just want to give you some ideas of how I have personally used this. So for example, when it comes to doing, one of my favorite photographs is of strawberries in a colander, and I've got the water running on them. That comes from me doing that. I was rinsing out the strawberries, saw a photographic potential there, and did it. For example, it could be what I was eating, either what is all on my plate or just the elements of it, the blueberries in a bowl or the tomatoes on a chopping board. Waiting, it could be what I was waiting. It could be washing on a line. It could be your daughter's skirt billowing in the breeze. It could be your son's Wellington boots or gum boots if you are in the US. And when it comes to what you are watching, it could be the TV show, or it could be you sitting watching your son and husband have a laugh at the table, or you're on a deck chair watching your son chasing around the bubbles. Feelings can be a slightly more difficult one to do, but again, you could be feeling peaceful. How can you show that? Maybe the sunlight filtering through the trees. Lots of different ways that you can go with this one. Okay, let's move on now to idea number 3, and that is deconstruct and recreate a photo. Now, this is where you take a photo that you love. It can be your own photo from years ago. I've absolutely done that. Or you can find a photographer that you love and look at their image as well and use that as inspiration for your own photo. Now, what you want to do here is deconstruct this down into its various elements and think about what it is that you love about the photo. So ask yourself, what is the image or what is in the image that stands out the most? What lens do you think was used? What composition rule was used? What's in the environment in the background, and does that add to the image or detract from it? Does this image make you want to produce an image of your own? And if so, why? What is it that is inspiring you? What ideas do you have now that you've studied this photo? Or you can just look at the elements, and what elements do you love about it that you can pull out and use to create your own photo? Now, the key here is that you are not copying this. You are using this for inspiration only. So just pull out an element or two that you love and then recreate that. It could be the dark background. It could be the golden light that someone is using. It could be the contrasting colors in the frame. What is it, and how can you pull that ideas and then use that to create your own unique image? So there you have it. That is 3 different ideas to help you get out of a creative slump. And just to quickly recap those, the first one was to find that new location. Remember, finding new locations can give you that kickstart. It can make you feel more inspired. And you can find out more about how to do that with our location scouting playbook, which you can find out more about at livesnaplove.com/location. The second idea was to use that prompts list. Again, you can download our summer prompts list, or you could use something like the currently list in order to get you out there and photographing what is around you every single day. And the idea number 3 was to find a photo that you love, deconstruct it, and then use the elements to create your own. Remember, do not copy. We don't want to look like a clone of anyone else. We want to take what we love about that image and take those elements and then use it to create our own image. Now, if you have enjoyed this week's episode, I would be so grateful if you could do a couple of things. If you're watching on YouTube, give it a thumbs up. Make sure that you leave a comment and make sure that you subscribe. And if you're listening to this on a podcast, do make sure that you subscribe to wherever you are listening to your podcasts. And if you can, leave a review. Doing these little things, leaving a comment, leaving a review, subscribing, are all ways that help small creators like myself. So I am so, so grateful if you do take just a few moments to do that. So thank you very much if you do. Now, I will be back again at same time, same place next week. So do make sure to tune in then, and I will have more photography advice and inspiration for you. See you then. Bye for now.